We are go for launch. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the NASA Social for the Crew-1 mission to the International Space Station.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the virtual NASA Social for the Crew-1 mission to the International Space Station. In just over 24 hours, 4 astronauts will be making their way to the launch pad to climb on board the Crew Dragon ahead of launch targeted for 7:49 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Madison Tuttle. I am with NASA Communications, and I'll be one of your hosts for this segment of the virtual NASA Social. We have two very special guests that I'm very excited about. We'll meet them in just a moment, but just a reminder that if you have questions while we're speaking with our guests, please drop them in the chat and we might just answer them live. So I'm going to let my good friend Joshua Santora introduce our two guests today. So I'm going to throw it out to Joshua, who is at the Launch Complex 39 observation gantry.
Thanks so much, Madison. You're not the only one that's super excited. I also am excited because I'm joined by two incredible guests here, astronauts Suni Williams and Jonny Kim. Thank you both for being here today.
Oh, it's great to be here. I mean, it doesn't get much better when you have rockets all around you. You know, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is pretty awesome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so as Suni mentioned, we have, it's a little bit tough to see because it's a bright, beautiful day here in Florida. The Crew Dragon atop the Falcon 9 is right behind us. And then off on the coast here, we've got the Atlas V stacked and ready, as well as a Delta IV. So it is, man, it's real. Like, this is so great. But appreciate you both being here. Suni has flown to Space Station twice now.
Yep.
Twice, and Jonny, you're still waiting your rookie flight. You're a newly graduated astronaut, but certainly like no less an astronaut. So thanks for being here. I want to give you both a chance to kind of tell us just a little bit about yourselves. So I'll leave that open-ended as to how you want to kind of talk about yourself, and then we'll jump right into questions here. So Jonny, you want to start, and then Suni will finish with you?
Yeah, sure. My name is Jonny Kim. I'm a lieutenant in the United States Navy, and I am with the latest class of astronauts called the Turtles. My journey, I guess, starts when I was much younger. After high school, I graduated. I became a Navy SEAL. I enlisted. And through those experiences, both good and bad, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about relationships, about teamwork, and about service. So I wanted to take that service to the next level. And I was very inspired by the physicians and nurses that we got to work with overseas. So I then decided that I would continue my service through the Navy's medical program. I went to school. I studied math at the University of San Diego. I studied medicine at Harvard Medical School, and I was on my way to becoming an emergency medicine doctor when I applied for the latest class of NASA astronauts back in 2016, and I was lucky and privileged enough to be called upon to have this amazing opportunity, and that's where I am today.
So as you mentioned, you're in the latest class, and I wouldn't ask, but since you brought it up, you're nicknamed the Turtles, and I know that for each class they have a nickname, and there's always interesting stories behind it. Can you tell us what the story is behind Turtles?
Yeah, it's a great story. So when we were announced by Vice President Mike Pence, he gave a great metaphor, which I had never heard of. I think maybe if you're from the South, you might have heard of this metaphor, but he alluded to our successes, the newly formed class of astronauts, our successes, our trials and tribulations, as a turtle on a fence post. And where he was going with that is that when you see a turtle on a fence post, which I personally have never seen a turtle on a fence post.
I haven't either.
But if you see one, you know it didn't get there by itself, which is homage, I think, to just the parents, teachers, coaches, mentors, friends, family, everyone that we've had that have supported us on this journey to get to where we are today. And so that metaphor then kind of carried its own weight, and the vice president, when the vice president has a hand in naming your class, it usually doesn't go away.
Yeah, you stick with that. That makes sense. Awesome. So, Suni, how about you? Give us a little bit of your background.
Yeah, well, my class was the Penguins, just to jump on that topic real quickly, because I joined when we were just starting to build the International Space Station. We had a lot of astronauts in the office, and people were thinking that, like, oh man, there's so many astronauts, you'll never get to fly. Well, little did we know really what was going to happen. I mean, there was one shuttle flight after another, and I was lucky enough to fly on a space shuttle up to the International Space Station and stay there and work on the construction of the space station in 2007. And then I got a second flight on a Russian Soyuz after we stopped flying the space shuttles from right behind us, and launched out of Kazakhstan. And it's really awesome to be back here, to be assigned to be on a Starliner flight, the Boeing Starliner, which is from this launch pad over to my left over here. I was assigned to that mission at the same time the Crew-1 guys were assigned to their mission. So it's fun to see how these programs have been working together, bouncing off each other, all that new technology. So that's been my history for the last number of years, as long as probably Johnny's been alive. I'm a little older than him. But before that, I was a Navy helicopter pilot and a test pilot, and that's what got me to the astronaut office was, just that idea of, like, really, how does this helicopter fly? That engineering, that science, that math, I really wanted to figure out. And we had the opportunity at that time to meet some of the older than me astronauts like John Young, who actually talked about landing on the moon, which we're going to do again, and some things that they had to do. And one of the things, they had some type of vertical landing simulator like a helicopter. And I thought, wow, maybe I have some of the skills that would allow me to be an astronaut. So that's sort of the full circle. And I hope right over there, we're going to be getting ready to go back to the moon. So yeah, Johnny's class will be doing that.
Are. Yeah. Very good. So, and if you hear the cars zipping by here, it's definitely a very active space. And as Suni mentioned, flying aboard shuttle, she came by this space in an Astrovan at the time, on her way to ride up to the pad. This is where the crews will come, and you'll get to see that tomorrow during the countdown procedures. And so they'll be in Teslas tomorrow. So anxious. I think there's a new Astrovan that you will hopefully get to be in when you do head over for that crew flight test here as soon as we can get there safely. So excited for that.
Absolutely. Yep.
So let's jump right into questions. So the first one we got, my son wants to be an astronaut when he grows up. He's 9. He's wondering how you go about becoming an astronaut. So you both are from the Navy. So is that a common thread, or is that just a coincidence?
It's not necessary at all. We have people from the military, of course. Johnny and I, like you mentioned, Josh, are from the Navy, but we have people from the Air Force. We have people from the Coast Guard. We have people from the Army. But that's only a portion of our office. We also have scientists, engineers, teachers, doctors, veterinarians, anybody who's had a science type of field, science, math, engineering field, and has done their field for a little while, shown that they're part of a team, just like Johnny talked about. They have that concept of teamwork, leadership, followership. Those are the type of people that we're looking for. So anybody has that. I always think of it like this way. You don't really know all the astronaut stuff. Where else are you going to learn it beside for being an astronaut, right? But we just want to make sure that you know how to learn. And taking on one of these types of fields in STEM really shows that you can learn, and then you can play well with others. So a couple of things that you learn in kindergarten is what we really look for.
Awesome. Yeah, you mentioned followership. I think that's something that's really good that I hear astronauts mention a good bit, that we hear about leadership a lot, but followership is as important, if not maybe more important. Johnny, curious if that plays into your career and what else you would add to kind of the how do you become an astronaut question.
Yeah, so I couldn't agree with Suni anymore. Nearly half my class is comprised of non-military folks. I think the most important part, if you want to be an astronaut and you're 9 years old, is just pursue your passions. Life is so interesting. There's so many amazing things to learn about. Study science. There's typically you do need a STEM background. So science, technology, engineering, math, medicine. These are all avenues to become an astronaut. But the most important thing is whether you do it through the military or you're a civilian, you're a doctor, engineer, is that you just enjoy what you do. Everything Suni said is correct. And we really, really want to find people that are passionate about what they do for a living. Awesome. Remind me, what was the other question?
Yeah, just a followership and just how do you become an astronaut? And I think that you hit on both of those, but if you got more to say, I'd love to hear it.
You can't be a leader unless you know how to be a follower.
Yeah, exactly.
They're peas in a pod that come together. We could take up the rest of this time talking about what it means to be a good follower, a good leader, but the core principles are the same, and there's nothing new that people haven't already heard. At the heart of it, it's be a good teammate, be a good human being. These are all aspects that make a person a good teammate and definitely a good astronaut.
Yeah, awesome. So what did you both study in school? That was a question that came in. So whether it be interest in high school or what did you study in college?
Yeah, so I went to the Naval Academy, so we have a little bit of engineering forced down our throat. I didn't even know what engineering was when I went to college. I had no clue. I knew that there was going to be a little bit of math involved, and so luckily I was pretty good in math in high school, and so that carried myself through the Naval Academy. But I was exposed to all sorts of cool things about engineering, like how do you build a rocket? How do you build this platform we're standing on? How do you build a car? How do you build a bridge? And I was like, wow, that's what engineering is? And I like I said, I had no idea. I struggled in college, I will say that also. And it wasn't until I got to really put my hands on something that was built, which is a helicopter, and really start thinking, like, how does this thing work, that I really tapped back into those engineering classes that I had at the Naval Academy and got my master's as a result of it, because I was really sort of curious and went to test pilot school. So I think not every path is straight, not every path is easy, but just like Jonny said, when you find what is your passion, then you're going to be curious and you want to know more about it and you're going to enjoy it. So that's sort of where my path led me here through education.
Cool. And Jonny, what'd you study?
Yeah, so I studied math in undergrad and of course I studied medicine in graduate school, but I echo what Suni said. In a lot of ways, what you study is not that important. You're going to have to quantify that because you just made a lot of teachers unhappy. I think that the love and the hunger to learn more about your environment, to learn more about the sciences, is what's really, really important. This lifelong learning. That's something that I heard in grad school and stuck with me, is that we never stop learning. The day you stop learning, the day you're an expert or a master in anything, I think you've doomed yourself to really being able to maximize your potential. So I think the important thing is that you love to learn, you're willing to learn. Everything else comes naturally, of course, requires hard work. And that kind of stems from a question I often get is like, what's the best subject to become an astronaut? I don't think I don't think there's an answer for that. And that's what I kind of meant by it doesn't matter what you study, is that what's important is that you just follow your passion. That's going to be a theme we're going to keep repeating.
Yeah, and I think that you did qualify that well by just saying that it's a matter of that drive for learning. And I discovered that myself, is that a lot of times the degree that you get really just identifies that you have demonstrated that you have the capacity and the willingness to invest yourself. Yep. And people can take that and mold that into what it needs to be. So, Suni, for you, since you've been to space, there was a question of what was your favorite meal in space?
Oh, wow. There's actually, it's funny because our friend and colleague Kate Rubins is up in space right now. And as she was getting ready to go, I was thinking about, oh, yeah, there's so many good things to eat up there. Which sounds so crazy and ridiculous. There's great things to eat down here, too. But I do absolutely miss some of the food that we had up there. I don't know why I like this. Most of the food is like a casserole, so it's sort of smashed together. They had lasagna that's sort of smashed together, and then pesto sauce I would put on that, and I just loved it. And then my go-to food for spacewalks was this thing called tvorig, which is like cottage cheese with nuts and some sugar in it, and it's a little bit like paste, like cement. It tastes really good. It's sweet, but then it just sticks with you, and it's just a protein for all day long. And it's I really miss that because you don't get it down here. So
all right,
anyway,
I got to ask you, because you just made a comment. Do you eat on spacewalks?
No. So it was
okay,
it was the food that I ate beforehand because it sticks with you like all day. You know, like that little bowl of oatmeal that they used to have in the commercials stick with you all day long. That Tavorics stick with you all day long.
I was gonna say, if there's some cool way that you eat while spacewalking that I didn't know about, I was about to get really excited. So, Jonny, one of the things that our viewers may not know is that there's a food kitchen where you kind of get to sample and kind of pick some meals while you go. Have you gotten a chance to do that yet? So have you picked out what meals you would like when you do go to space?
Yeah, so our entire class is part of being an ASCAN. When we were going through the candidacy, or when we were learning to be astronauts, was definitely sampling all the different various foods, how to operate the equipment to rehydrate your food. So I got to say, I mean, I got to preface this that I love food. I love all types of food. I have no biases. So I liked it all. But I'm also the kind of person that didn't mind occasional MREs as long as there weren't too many of them. So they're great. The food that our food lab, they're just the best at what they do. They make great food. It's delicious. It's nutritious. It really maximizes our performance on space station.
I will say though, when we have the cargo vehicles that come up, sometimes they bring fresh fruit or vegetables like apples or oranges or even like onions and bulbs of garlic. I don't know why folks like that, but it's a crunch. And it's one of the things, like I was mentioning, the lasagna is sort of gooey and that Tavorig stuff is sort of gooey. And so having that crunch, that's one of those things that I felt like I missed from Earth. Sometimes you just want to crunch on stuff and you don't get that opportunity very often unless we have a visiting vehicle come bring it. I bet you there's some good stuff on that spacecraft right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Who knows what kind of wonderful treats there are there. So Suni, question came in about taking personal items to space. We know that it's expensive to get things to space. There's not a lot of room. It's definitely tight quarters in there. So I think you get to take a few things with you. What kinds of things did you take?
Yeah, so, I think for me, it was remembering people down here and things down here. I am a huge animal lover, so I have a necklace that has a dog paw on it, and I brought my dog paw with me. It has all the names of my former dogs, and then some little mementos from my father gave me. I didn't really want to read in space because you can read on Earth. I wanted to do things that were interesting and different in space, but he gave me a Bhagavad Gita to take up, a mini version, so it wasn't too complicated to read. So that was, a memento from him. And then I didn't really bring anything specifically from my mom's side of the family. She's Slovenian, but one of the visiting vehicles sent up some sausages that were Slovenian sausages, and that sort of brings you back. You sort of close your eyes in the nostalgia of being home and being with your family and friends.
Awesome. Jonny, any thoughts of what you will take with you? Have you kind of thought through like stuff that you'd want to take?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably just typical things. Of course, a picture of my family, my beautiful wife and children, the people that mean a lot to me. I think also probably mementos that I've accumulated over the years from people that have meant a lot to me. I think one thing that I would really want to take is a nice watch. And I think I've always just admired the elegant beauty and mechanics and engineering behind watches. So I think that would be something cool to bring in space.
Awesome. Very cool. How excited are you guys for launch tomorrow? Jonny, we were talking about this before the show, and you haven't seen many launches before. So how many launches have you seen, and what's your feeling on tomorrow?
I've seen one launch before, and it was a Soyuz in Kazakhstan for Christina Koch's launch back in February of 2019, almost a year and a half ago. And it was, I'm sure Suni can articulate much better than I can, but it's emotional. There's a lot of things going on. You're excited. There's just so much enormous power going on. It's really surreal. And knowing that there's people you love on that rocket, it's just, I don't think anything compares to it. So I'm super excited. I know it's going to be a great event tomorrow. I'm just glad to be able to live and witness that.
Cool. Suni?
Yeah, rockets are super cool. Absolutely, without a doubt. You come here, you feel it. Not only you see it, but you can feel it just because there's so much power behind them. And you can look at them on TV, and they're absolutely cool on TV as well, or on the internet. But knowing people on there gives it that next element, gives it one more step up. And, those guys in the spacecraft tomorrow, Mike, Victor, Shannon, Soichi, they're our friends. And, people ask all the time, like, do you know those astronauts who went, Bob and Doug from, the Demo 2 mission? And I'm like, yeah, of course. There's only so many of us. We are a family. We all know each other. And, there's so many people here that help us get to that spot and get to that top of that rocket and then it going. You just know this accumulation of hard work and love, like Jonny mentioned, for the people who are on board is just overwhelming. It's pretty amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, for those that, if you haven't seen a launch or you come out to see them, we always encourage people to put away phones and just enjoy the view, the experience. Jonny, like, the emotion of it resonates a lot with the people who work here even. We see them a lot, but, like, there's something emotional about it. And it's, I always tell people, like, it's so loud. And every time before launch, I tell people, I'm remembering it wrong. It's not that loud. And then it happens and you're like, oh, it's so loud. So it's just a lot of fun to be close. So if you're close by, enjoy the view. A couple more questions. Jonny, the question came in about your medical knowledge and how do you expect that to be helpful as an astronaut, and kind of where do you see that fitting in the picture?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think perspectives, diversity, diversity is so powerful in what we do. There's just so many obvious reasons for it, but one of the biggest reasons why it's so helpful is perspectives. And so certainly if we want to talk about the technical aspects of my time learning medicine as a combat medic and later as a physician, certainly is going to have a place for later space missions. But I think what can be sometimes even more powerful is having that perspective of what a pilot thinks, what an operator thinks, what a doctor thinks, an engineer. All these different perspectives culminate and bring something else to the table. Everyone has a strength that they bring to the mission. And so that's what I think is really powerful. It's just having a diverse crew with various strengths and backgrounds.
Awesome. Very cool. Suni, question for you. What's your favorite memory aboard Space Station?
Wow.
You spent quite a few days there, so can you pick one?
Well, probably the very beginning. There's so many to talk about. I don't know, but I'll just tell you the very beginning was just amazing. As soon as the engines stop, after launch, engines stop, you're in space, and everything starts to float. It's just comical. You're like, oh my God, my arms are floating. Like here on Earth, you don't even realize that gravity holds your arms down, and you don't think about it. So if you don't think about it, and you're someplace where there is no gravity, your arms are going to start to float right away. And we were all just cracking up. And like your gloves start to float. You have to figure out where you're going to put them, under your leg or your helmet. I got to Velcro it to something, and it's just hilarious. And that same, not too much longer after that same hour, my commander said, Suni, come up to the flight deck. Let me give you your little astronaut wings, and congratulations, you made it to space. And I was all excited about that. I flew up the ladder, and I'm like chuckling because I'm like, I'm flying up a ladder. I'm not even walking. This is so funny. And then I get up there, and there was the window, and there's the Earth. And it was just like, oh, breathtaking, overwhelming. When you see our planet that's round, and you go, oh, those teachers were right, for one thing. But second of all, like, that's it. That's our little home. That's it. And it's that one right there. And it's just beautiful. It's alive. It's moving. Clouds, ocean, green, purple, pink, every color you can imagine. It's just spectacular. It takes your breath away. And you'll do it again and again and again, because every day is like a new day in space, and you go to the cupola window on the space station, you go, yeah, that's it. That's cool. That's a cool planet down there.
Did you ever wake up and be like, oh, wait, it's not a dream, like I'm really on Space Station?
One of the coolest things, my father was a neuroscience scientist, and he asked me the question about dreaming, right? And he said, when you're up there, do you dream you're back here, or do you dream you're there? And I was like, that's a really profound question. And I think dreaming, part of it is experience, right? So I dreamed that I was there doing work up there or enjoying myself, but every now and then I would dream I was home. And after I got home, sometimes I've dreamed about being there, those are priceless moments, because it's just magical.
Awesome. All right, we're about out of time, but I want to give you both a chance to kind of give last comments here. Just speaking to our audience, just thinking about audience of all ages, what would you want to tell them about this mission, about being an astronaut. I'll just leave it to you guys. Whatever you want to kind of say. Suni, you want to go first, and Jonny?
Sure. I'll take just a quick second because I'm talking too much. But I'm so excited to be part of this. I invite anybody, everybody to be part of all of this. I mean, space travel, space exploration is for everybody. Doesn't matter what your background is, what you do. You know, humans living in space, that means everything that we do on Earth, we have to do in space. So human space exploration is super cool and very inclusive, and we want new and innovative ideas from everybody out there. So please join us tomorrow for an amazing launch, and I hope it inspires you all.
I have to tag onto that, Suni, because it's such an important message. You know, everything we do here in NASA is for the betterment of, you know, not just this nation, but humanity, for our planet. We only have one. Everyone that we've loved and lived is here. And this historic day, we are beginning regular missions to the space station, low Earth orbit, through commercial providers. That is monumental for this nation, but it's good for our international partners that we collaborate with. And it wouldn't be possible without the thousands and thousands of people who aren't named, who you don't always get to see, who work behind the scenes, but have an absolute hand in making this successful. So chase your dreams, and a big thank you for the public, for everyone who supports us, and especially the people, the engineers, technicians who make this all possible.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you.
Suni, Jonny, can't thank you enough. It's been a pleasure. I'm sure you'll have fun watching tomorrow. Excited to see you fly sometime soon, Suni, and Jonny, excited to see your next, whenever you get seated, we're excited to see you fly as well, and we'll all be cheering you both on in the coming days. And for now, that's gonna do it for us. Madison, we'll send it back into you.
Thanks so much, Joshua, and I just want to give a special thank you to our guests, Jonny and Suni, for joining us for the virtual NASA Social. Don't go anywhere. We still have 2 more shows left in our virtual NASA Social coverage. You can join me again right here at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, and we will be speaking with the lead design engineer. She is part of the Commercial Crew program. And just a reminder, tomorrow, November 14th, for live launch coverage, you can tune in at www.nasa.gov/live beginning at 3:30 Eastern Time for that 7:49 p.m. Eastern Time launch. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see y'all back here at 3:30.